Since the early 1980s, the people of Pakistan have provided refuge to millions of Afghan brethren who left the war and the strife in Afghanistan. These Afghan refugees have settled in different parts of Pakistan, particularly in the provinces of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa that border Afghanistan. In many places, the host Pakistani communities have welcomed the Afghan refugees in their neighborhoods. Workers from both Afghan refugees and the host Pakistani communities struggle hard to find work. In 1983, the International Labour Organization and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees signed a Memorandum of Understanding aimed at implementing strategies to achieve sustainable livelihoods and poverty reduction for refugees, returnees, and internally displaced persons. Both UNHCR and the ILO recognize the basic importance of accepted international minimum standards for the protection of refugees, particularly as regards economic and social rights. ILO promotes decent work for all.
When we say decent work deficit, it is also something that the ILO is taking into account in its normal programming. We are currently developing the Decent Work Country program from 2010 to 2015. This has been done in consultation with the ILO constituents, the government of Pakistan, the workers' organization, and the employers' organization. And also due to the devolution, we also requested we had a discussion with the provincial level authorities, the Secretary of Labor. And for example, a specific component of our Decent Work Country program will be on providing social protection floor to the most vulnerable population, which includes the migrant workers and the refugees. So the ILO is standing with the UNHCR to better improve the working and living condition of this population.
UNHCR estimates more than 1.7 million Afghan refugees are living in Pakistan. Many Afghan refugees have settled in the province of Balochistan, and they come to Quetta, the provincial capital, and along with the host Pakistani communities look for work. Every morning, hundreds of laborers arrive at Mizan Square in search of work, primarily on a daily wage basis. Getting work to earn a livelihood is becoming more difficult and a more arduous task with every passing day. Abdul Halim is an Afghan Uzbek. After the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, his family, along with thousands of other families, took refuge in Quetta with the hope for a safe future in Pakistan. Abdul Halim could not receive any formal education or skills training. His father taught him how to become a mason to earn a living. However, poverty and lack of services have compelled these poor Afghan men and women and even children to earn their livelihood.
यहाँ पे मैं दिहाड़ी करता हूँ, टिक्का मिकार उठाता हूँ, कभी 2000 कमा लिया, कभी 4000 कमा लिया, कभी नहीं हो गया, महीने नहीं हो गया, सर्दियों में मैं ऐसे पारे घूमता हूँ, मेरे वालिदैन हैं घर में, माँ है, बहन है, बीवी है, बच्चा है.
The unemployment for a daily wage earner is high. Any single opportunity attracts too many competitors. These Afghans, along with local Pakistanis, compete for such opportunities. For many, bargaining is not an option. Small-time employers offering daily wages usually take full advantage, particularly of Afghan refugees, because of their vulnerability. Abdul Halim has to wait for some other opportunity.
काम करने वाला लोग बहुत ही, एक में नहीं है, दो नहीं, 100 नहीं, हज़ारों से ज़्यादा. हर चौक में जाओ भरा हुआ है, कभी मिलता है, कभी नहीं मिलता है. अभी चौक में बैठा है, कोई 500 पे ले जा रहा है, कोई 200 पे ले जा रहा है, कोई 300 पे ले जा रहा है, कोई इसका कोई नहीं है. अभी जो महंगाई का दौर है, 500 पे भी नहीं चलता है.
मिनिमम वेजेस जो हमने रखे हैं 7000, वो अखबार में भी हमने नोटिफाई किया है. तो मेरा ख्याल है इस तरह का हमने वो एक एफ़र्ट किया है कि कम से कम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लेबर को थ्रू अखबार ये पता चले कि उनके मिनिमम वेजेस क्या रखे हैं। अभी अगर एक बंदा गरीब है और वो देखता है कि जी मुझे कम वेजेस मिल रहे हैं, तो चले मैं चूँकि बेरोज़गार हूँ, काम नहीं है, तो वो उसको एक्सेप्ट करता है। तो ये तो उसकी अपनी गलती समझ लें या अपनी मजबूरी समझ लें। तो अदरवाइज़ तो गवर्नमेंट तो उसी सूरत में कोई स्टेप लेगी या कोई एक्शन लेगी जब उसको कोई रिपोर्ट करेगी।
Pakistan's large informal economy and agricultural sector offers employment to these Afghan refugees. Afghan workers usually perform menial tasks and due to their vulnerable situation end up working in dangerous environments at very low wages, wages that their Pakistani counterparts perhaps would refuse to accept.
In Quetta and also in Peshawar, there are clear evidence that both workers from Afghan refugees and Pakistani host communities are experiencing a decent work deficit, and there's a need to jointly work together to improve their situation, to help them have a better working environment in this regard.
At Spin Kare's Quetta, most of the coal workers are Afghan refugees. Typically, the agreement between the employer and the worker about daily wage, working hours, or compensation are rarely documented, and labourers are unaware of their rights. However, when it is a question of providing sustenance to many feeding mouths back home, workers get ready to work while compromising their rights.
माइनिंग एरिया में जो हमारे अफगान भाई हैं, ये मुतल्लिका ठेकेदारान हज़रात उसको तवज्जो देते हैं, क्योंकि जो लोकल लोग हैं वो अगर कोई 7,000 रुपये पे कम से कम तनख्वाह है उनकी, तो अफगान माजरिन को 2-2.5 हज़ार रुपये पे राज़ी कर लेते हैं। दूसरा ये है कि खुदा न खास्ता अगर माइनिंग में एक्सीडेंट हो, एक तो कंपनसेशन नहीं ले सकते क्योंकि उनके पास शनाख्ती कार्ड वगैरह ना हो, फिर गवर्नमेंट से जो मुतल्लिका इदारा है उससे डेथ ग्रांट उनके लिए भी शर्त है, उनके शनाख्ती कार्ड, उसके ख़ानदान के जो वरासती सर्टिफिकेट वगैरह वो होते हैं। लेकिन जो हमारे अफगान भाई उनके पास ये आलात, ये जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स है वो नहीं होते।
These are extremely hazardous conditions, but it is hard to tell which party will be held responsible if workers get injured or suffer from ill health due to occupational hazards.
औसतन जो माइंस वर्कर हैं ये वहाँ पे गर्द गुबार इतना ज़्यादा होता है कि 4-5 साल के अंदर अंदर वो टीबी का मरीज़ बन जाते हैं, फिर गंदे पानी से वो हेपेटाइटिस में मुब्तला हो जाते हैं, उससे उसका पूरा ख़ानदान लपेट में आ जाता है। 70% जो हमारे वर्कर्स हैं या बच्चे हैं या अफगान माजरीन जो भी हैं हेपेटाइटिस के मरीज़ हैं, तकरीबन 40% टीबी का मरीज़ है, उसके दवाइयों के अखराजात वो नहीं कर सकते, बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकते। ठेकेदारान फ़र्ज़ कर जब बीमार हो जाता है ठेकेदार उसको बोलता है बस जी आप पारे हो चले जाओ, बेटे ठेकेदार उससे बात करने वाला कोई नहीं, वो बात नहीं कर सकते, चले जाए, या तो भीख मांगते हैं या फिर ठोकरे खा के मर जाते हैं। लेकिन एक बंदे के मरने से उसके पूरा फैमिली गर्क हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि बाज़ घरों में एक बंदा काम करने वाला होता है।
Most employers also avoid getting these Afghan workers registered with the concerned authorities for a variety of reasons.
जितने इनके एस्टेब्लिशमेंट हैं, अदारे हैं, फैक्ट्रीज़ है, कारखाने दूसरे तीसरे इस तरह के हैं, तो वो अपने आप को रजिस्टर्ड कराने से थोड़ा सा हेजिटेशन फ़ील करते हैं। वो वजह ये है कि उनको फिर कंट्रीब्यूशन देनी पड़ती है, तो उस कंट्रीब्यूशन को बचाने के लिए वो ये करते हैं कि जी वो उनको रजिस्टर्ड नहीं करते हैं।
The government of Pakistan has announced Afghan management and a repatriation strategy.
The strategy is a very comprehensive document and a policy decision of the government of Pakistan, how to deal with the Afghans. There were apprehension and there was some misinformation that perhaps Pakistan will pack them and then they will be sent across the border. So that message has been given by the federal government, by the cabinet decision through this strategy, that there is no such thing, and still our most preferred solution is the sustainable, dignified and voluntary return to their country of origin. The ultimate destination for the Afghan refugees is their own country, and they have to think on those lines.
According to Afghan management and repatriation strategy, it is compulsory for all employers to register Afghan refugees working for them.
According to the strategy, they are required to report every industry, irrespective of the level and the depth. They are required to report the people working, Afghan refugees working with them, for registration. Even the individual people, the private people are required. When they engage Afghan refugees, they are required to get them reported to the PCM for registration.
These Afghan refugees have a variety of ethnic backgrounds. The majority belong to Pashtuns and the rest come from Hazaras, Tajiks, Uzbeks and other minority groups. Living conditions of Afghan families also vary according to their social status. The poorest of families survive under makeshift tents like these, without any sanitation or basic living facilities. Some live in camps, but the majority of urban refugees reside in the slums of cities. Tajikabad is one of these settlements. With limited resources, these families build their homes themselves. Abdul Halim also lives in Tajikabad. Once again, he did not find any work and is returning home to his wife, 4 children and his father. His wife also works at home and sells milk in the neighborhood. To make ends meet, everyone has to work in the family. Like every father, he knows the abrasive reality of the surrounding world, but wants the best for his children. Abdul Halim, instead of pushing his children into labor, has some other plans for them.
मेरी कोशिश है मेरा अपना बच्चों को पढ़ाऊं लिखाऊं इंसान के लिए ज़रूरी है काम करने से बच जाता है मजदूरी से बच जाता है किसी जगह तनख्वाह मनख्वाह तो मिल जाता है किसी मुंशी पे किसी दूसरी जगह पे किसी दूसरी जगह पे मिल जाता है पढ़ा लिखा इंसान तो अच्छा है ना आराम से
These children are lucky that their father wants them to learn and get an education. For years, many other poor and deprived children have been engaging in a wide range of harmful child labor practices. Haji Abdul Rashid is a Pashtun from Afghanistan. He runs a garbage sorting depot at Sipni Road. His 3 teenage sons are garbage pickers. From dawn till dusk, they scavenge rags from plastic bags and metals to hazardous hospital waste like used syringes and so on. They collect these items from the streets and garbage dumps and bring these to their father at the depot. Garbage is sorted and sent to factories and workshops that specialize in recycling metal, paper, rubber, glass and plastic content. Some of the recycled material, like plastic, is sent overseas. It's like a family business, and the monthly income it produces is between 15 to 20,000 rupees, which barely supports the entire household.
نو دا 2 کاله کېږي بیا په دغه کاغذو په د اخبارو په دغه ولا سره اخته وي په دا ګتو باندې اخته وي نو اوس په دغه کې په خدای کوچنی هم اخته دی لوی ما هم اخته دی بل ما هم اخته دی کیلو په 15 په شپږ هغه هم په 2 روپۍ په بازار کې خرڅوو بس که شیشه هغه هم په 3 روپۍ په 3 نیمې بازار کې خرڅوو که ډوډۍ هغه هم په 14 په 15 په بازار کې خرڅوو او که دا چې مقصد یو بل شی پکښې کې اوسپنې په یوه ټانې یو روپۍ زموږ فیلحاله په دې کې ګټه ده موږ ټوټل د یو زوی څخه 40-50 روپۍ ماښام کې د هر یو روزانه یا 50 یا 80 یا 100 دغې دا چې موږ سره یو ځای کړو ځای مو دی کرایه په کرایه باندې پراته وي څه چې دی د بجلي په بیل یې دی ورکړو څه یې د ګیس په حساب کې ورکړو څه زموږ خوراکي داسې کله د کرایې پیسې پوره کېږي کله نه پوره کېږي.
Although a child rag picker does not earn much, these communities are so poor that most of the time poor parents force their children to start earning at a very early age, regardless of the fact that this severely damages a child's health. The unhygienic living and dietary patterns of these children creates a variety of health problems for them. These include malnutrition, water and foodborne diseases, other bacterial and parasitic infections, skin ailments, and exposure to extreme climatic conditions and environmental hazards.
کاغذ ډېر مرسته ټولوم بس د ورځې ټولو بس 10-15 کیلو جمع سي بالا خرڅو نه ماښام د ګدام کې خرڅو مازدګر شینټکو بارزو مازدګر چې مو شینټک کړ بارزو د ګدام ته په ګدام څخه بارزو کور ته ساروختي د خلک چې منظم موکه بس ما راوځو پاسته ډوډۍ نشته ماشته مالت وکړ ولا راوځو بس 200-300 داس جوړیږي سبق ما نه د ولې د خیر بس دغه کله کراچي خو د زور کله دی خو د زور کله خو د زور بس په دغه باندې گزاره کوو مړ وزن حساب کوو کاغذ چې د 15 روپۍ کیلو ورکو او مساله په 10 روپۍ غواړي شیشه په 3 روپۍ غواړي سره تیر د چادرانو ټیمان نه په 15 روپۍ کیلو غواړي خاص نه کې خلاغه ماشام وسه کې یا غوړي په واخلې دال مال په واخلې شی مې په واخلې بس هغه خلاص بس ما شان خرڅ کیږي بس ولا نو شي ولا کنه معلوم نه ده کوم سبق شروع کوم دا کار کو زه خو ضرور زنه لیس پارټي کوم کسانو ته ولا اړ دی بس
7-year-old Kashif Khan works as a helper at this workshop. He repairs the dents of damaged vehicles. For this hard labor in such hazardous working conditions, Kashif only gets a meager sum of 20 rupees per day. This small amount in daily wages is certainly not enough to feed his family. However, Kashif is confident that his work will help him acquire skills that will enable him to have a better income in the future.
په بستره پروت اوس لکړه دي لکړه باندې د کور شابو کې د کور مې د لې استاس کار کوم اوس د لې یم بیا ماښام زه کور ته شل پوی راکېږي میاشت دغه یې بس د لې کار کوم میاشت نسته سارا راسم په 2 بجې 8 بجې بیا ماښام ځمه زما مور ته پیسې ورکوم هغه چې استاد راکړي زما مور ته پیسې ورکوم هغه شی یو شی په راوړي موږ دغه د دې بیا هفته کې یو ورځ د جمعې ورځ چې هغه کور ته یم هغه کار کوم کار پرچون دوکان د هغه یم راوړي زه لږ شل پوی کور ته ورکوم ورور تورکوم دا نورورم د دې کار کوي هغه هم دې نه د ورور زوی یم دی هغه هم د دې کار کوي هغه هم کور ته وړي اګر د هغه حالت یې ورور کور ته موږ پلار ته ورکوو دور کار کوم کار مې پر چین دوکان دغه خرچې هغې دي باندې نو پلار روټۍ ورکوي د ځان ورسته جوړوم دا لی کار کوم ډینټ کار کوم د ځان ورسته جوړوم هغه نوه زنبلې ورسته د ځانه جوړوم
दरअसल में बाज़ औक़ात ये होते हैं कि गैरेज में जो भी बच्चा आता है वो बच्चा पढ़ कर नहीं आते हैं, वो लाजमी शरारत करते हैं माले में घर में। ऐसे बच्चे होते हैं कि वहाँ नहीं पढ़ते, माँ बाप उनको संभाल नहीं सकते ताकि वो बच्चे जो है हमारे पास भेजते हैं गैरेज में। फिर वो ट्रेनिंग हम लोग देते हैं ताकि उनको आगे फिर वो उस्ताद बने।
Overall wages are also very low in this sector. Mohammed Hassan admits that while hiring, business owners do give preference to local Pakistani workers over Afghans.
किसी गैर बंदे का तो नहीं रखती है, बस जो अपने वाकिफ है, जो जानने वाले बच्चा हो, क्योंकि वो ऐसी है कि यहाँ पे सब कुछ हो सकता है, जिम्मेवारी आती है, चीज़ें सामान पड़ता है। अगर आप कोई गैर बंदा यहाँ रखती है तो कल कुछ ना कुछ कर सकता है। यहाँ का अगर लोकल बच्चा कोई आवे या अफगानी हो, हम लोग तो वही हिसाब से देखते हैं जैसे अपने बच्चे को।
Pakistan has ratified various ILO conventions, including all core conventions dealing with child labor, forced labor, discrimination and workers' rights to form an association and collective bargaining. Corresponding national laws are also available.
Child labor laws of Pakistan do apply on Afghan children as well, but however you can see that they are informally employed. So basically, if an Afghan child's parents were to try to stop their child from being treated badly at work, they could use one of the labor laws or the child labor laws and go to court. But however, there is a practical aspect in the sense that there are practical barriers to Afghans accessing justice as well. Then that comes into the access to justice problem, that Afghans do face problems going to courts to enforce their rights, even generally also.
असल में चाइल्ड लेबर के मेनली वजूहात तो गुर्बत है, उसके लिए तो ऐसे फैमिलीज़ के लिए फिर एक होना चाहिए कोई ऐसे गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, हमारे तरफ से, फेडरल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, कि ऐसे फैमिलीज़ को इकोनॉमिकली एक सपोर्ट इनको मिले, ताकि वो फिर अपने बच्चों को इतने मजबूरी में इनको बाहर ना भेजें और उन अपने बच्चों को अपने किसी स्कूल में या किसी ऐसे अदारे में डालें जहाँ पे उनको कोई मुशक्क़त ना हो, या कोई अच्छे तरीके इज़्ज़त से स्कूल पढ़े, या इस तरह कोई और एक्टिविटी, एक मस्बत एक्टिविटी कर लें।
While most child workers have homes to return to, some are completely at the mercy of their employers and circumstances, be it day or night. 13-year-old Muhammad Amir is a Pakistani Pashtun and works at a local tea store. His family lives in a village that is quite far from the city. Long working hours and nominal wages do not allow him to visit his home frequently.
دیارلس کال زما عمر دی، زه 2 کال څه دلته کار کوم. موږ په کور کې 6 وروڼه یو، 5 کار کوو، یو بیکاره دی، یو په سرینا هوټل کې کار کوي، 2 په دا هوټل کې کار کوو، یو ګاډۍ چلوي، یو د موبایلو دکان کوي. چې څه پیسې راوړي ګرده بیا یې څه د کور ګزاره په کېږي. زه اول د وار سهاره پورته کېږم، برتن مینځم، بیا چوله لګوم، بیا چای پخوم، بیا اوبه راوړم، بیا دلته خلکو له ډوډۍ راوړم، بیا برتن مینځم، بیا چې ماښام سو بندوی. ما ته د میاشتې 2000 تنخوا راکوي، زه دلته د جمعې 200 روپۍ خرچه راکوي. زه دا پیسې ما پلار ته ورکوم، هغه د کور سودا راوړي، بره، غوړي، پیاز، پټاټې، دا شیان راوړي. سرکاري سکول کې سمه پړهایي نه وله، په پرایویټ کې موږ پیسې نه درلودې، وس مې نه درلودی، زما ټایم ضایع کېدی، ما مزدوري شروع کړه، هوټل کار وشو. موږ په هوټل کې 8 غنټې کار کوو نه موږ په چا کار لرو نه په موږ څوک کار لري موږ خپل پر لار ځو خپل پر لار راځو په چا موږ کار نه لرو نه مو څوک وایي.
Night has arrived in Quetta. By this time, many will be fast asleep. Ahmed is still at work. Before closing this tea stall, Ahmed has to wash the dirty dishes and clean the stall. In this severe cold, he will have to work for another 30 minutes before he can sleep. Sleep is a welcome refuge when it comes.
ما ځان څه دا سوچلی چې موږ پیسې پیدا کړو موږ تعلیم کوو پیسې پیدا کړو بیا موږ تعلیم کوو کار نه کوو.
The unawareness of workers' rights is present not only in Afghan communities, but the local and educated population also shares this dilemma. Razia is a graduate and works at a local NGO. Even in host communities, there are very limited working options available for females.
सबसे पहले यहाँ पे एजुकेशन का कोई सिस्टम नहीं अगर है तो फिर वो इतने महंगे हैं कि जो गरीब लोग हैं जो मतलब मिडिल क्लास से बिलोंग करते हैं मतलब उनके लिए तो बहुत ये सोचना भी मुश्किल कि वो किसी अच्छे इदारे से अच्छे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से तालीम हासिल कर सके. ज़्यादातर ख़वातीन तो पहले बहुत ही कम होते हैं या जिनकी जो है एजुकेशन ग्रेजुएशन है वो यहाँ पे जो लोकल स्कूल्स हैं वहाँ पे जाके वो लोग टीच करते या वो जो है अपना जो लैंग्वेज सेंटर है वगैरह वो खोलते या जो ज़्यादातर जो है वो NGO वगैरह में जाते. ज्वाइन करने से पहले मतलब जितने भी फॉर्मेलिटीज़ होते हैं इसमें तो ये नहीं लिखा होता कि आपसे ये ओवर काम लिया जाएगा ओवर टाइमिंग में आपको आना पड़ेगा ऑफ डेज में भी आपको आना पड़ेगा इस तरह का कोई नहीं होता बस जैसे इनफॉर्मली ये सब कुछ होता है.
Trade unions or employee unions are virtually non-existent. And if some do exist, then local labor is not familiar with them. So the concept of collective bargaining on wages and rights is missing.
अगर पहले तो यहाँ पे कोयटा में नहीं है हाँ जहाँ मैं रह रही हूँ यहाँ पे तो कि ऐसी कोई यूनियन नहीं है अगर होते तो जितने भी पढ़ी लिखी लड़कियाँ हैं वो कम से कम जो है अपने घर में कोई काम वो सीखे जो है अपने घर के खर्चे में थोड़ा सा इजाफा कर सकते.
नहीं सर जी इधर कोयटा में कोई यूनियन मजदूर का नहीं है अभी तक ना हुआ है ना होगा नहीं हुआ अभी तक. ये तो यूनियन हो जाए तो अच्छा होएगा यानी मजदूर खा को मिल जाता है किसी पाँव टूट गया किसी मर गया इसमें से ₹1 उसको ₹2 उसको मिल जाता है उसके बच्चों के लिए.
अफगान माइग्रेंट वर्कर जो हमारे मुल्क के अंदर माइग्रेंट वर्कर हैं और हमारे वर्कर दुनिया के दूसरे मुल्कों के अंदर माइग्रेंट वर्कर हैं. हमारे मुल्क के भी जो माइग्रेंट वर्कर बाहर गल्फ़ में बिलखसूस हैं तो वहाँ पर उनको यूनियन का राइट नहीं है क्योंकि वो रेगुलर वर्कर उस तरह ट्रीट नहीं होते उनके मुल्कों के अंदर. इसी तरह पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी अगर माइग्रेंट वर्कर जो हैं वो बाकायदा हमारा जो एम्प्लॉयर है बहुत ज़्यादा उसकी एक्सप्लॉयटेशन या इस्तेसाल करते हुए भर्ती करता है और भर्ती भी ऐसे तरीके पे कि कोई उनका अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर नहीं होता उनको उसी माइग्रेंट वर्कर के तौर पर ट्रीट करके सस्ता मजदूर हासिल करने के नशे में वो सारा किरदार अदा करता है तो जिसकी वजह से वो ज़ाहिर है ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर के उस हिसाब में वो यूनियनों के मेंबर इतने नहीं हैं.
Workers from both the communities, Afghan refugees and host communities, either are not aware about the trade union or if you ask them that do you want to be a member of a trade union, there is very limited understanding.
In Afghan culture, a female's role in the family is defined along traditional lines. Females are not encouraged to go to work outside their homes. Most women are engaged in the carpet weaving industry. Children from the tender age of 7 or 8 start learning this art from their parents. Later, as child laborers, they spend about 10 to 15 hours weaving carpets daily. This carpet or glimp usually takes 3 to 4 months to complete and is sold in the local market for around 120,000 Pakistani rupees. These glimps or carpets are much appreciated in antique outlets by locals and foreigners. However, the workers get little money because most of it ends up in the hands of middlemen. Like this Afghan family, hundreds of refugees are the backbone of the carpet industry in Pakistan. Slowly but gradually, Afghan workers are opening up to society. Women and girls, after getting permission from their families, are joining different vocational and training centers to learn skills. One of them is Fatima Bibi. She started making carpets at home 6 years earlier, and now there are 30 women working under her supervision. In order to acquire the craft of embroidery and stitching, she has come back to the center.
په دالسو کالو کې موږ چې اول کالو کې رالو موږ خاص د پستو کار مو کوی یا د څرخي کار مو کوی وړۍ مو رشلې نو دغه کیلو چې وه یا په 10 روپۍ وه یا په 20 روپۍ وه نو موږ د پستو کیلو چې وه هغه په 3 روپۍ وه نو اوس دا څو کلونه چې موږ په دا رقم خپل ګذران وکړ ډېر موږ ګذران چې و په ډېر مشکل کې وو نو اوس موږ چې دی دا سریس والا او دا سنټران چې جوړ شوي دي نو موږ زه خپله چې یم زما 8 بچیان دي یو مې خاوند دی نو خاوند چې دی هغه ډېر معذور دی یعنې په لاسونه او پښې سوي دي په افغانستان کې مین وړي دي نو زه خپله چې یم ما د ګیلم کار و ترشماري و دا کار مې کړی دی ډېر نو زه اوس غواړم چې تر پروش کال تر ابل کال موږ شل کال ډېر مخته راغلي مګر یو مشکل موږ لرو چې موږ ځایونه کچه دي او موږ چې ګاز بجلي نه لرو موږ ژوند په ډېر مشکل کې دی زه ګوره اوس دا 6 کاله 7 کاله کې زما په دا کار کې زه اخته یم زه اول کلو کې زه د بازار ته نه تللی شم حساب راته نه و معلوم نو زه اوس بازار ته هم تللی شم خپل سودا هم کولی شم خپل سامان هم خرڅولی شم خپل سامان هم اخیستلی شم نو زه غواړم چې زما یو بله خور هم دا زما په رقم چې خپل د کور مشکلات خپل پر غاړه واخلي خپل ژوند سم کړي بله خور هم کولی شم چې راووځي زما سره یو بل ته سره تکیه شو خپل ژوند سم کړو خپل زندګي سمه کړو نو زه د کوره څخه ځم خپل کاروبار مخته وړم بازار ته ځم مارکیټ ته ځم هغه اندازه ګورم چې دغه شی زه اخلم په دغه کې زما یو 15 روپۍ پیدا وي هغه اخلم بل ځای ځم بیا بل مارکیټ ته ځم هغه خپل کاروبار په مخه باندې وم زه دا 10 کاله کېږي چې زه دا کار ما مخته وړی دی.
The income she makes is sufficient only to provide sustenance, but she thinks if certain factors were in her favor, she could be earning a lot more, since the work she does and the products she sells are actually of great worth.
نو ګوره موږ چې اوس د لاهور څخه د کراچۍ څخه اډران راسي موږ خو بې سواته یو سواد نه لرو یو خو دا اردو ژبه نه زده خپل پښتو ژبه فارسي ژبه مو زده بل مو نه زده نو و چې د بهر څخه خلک راشي موږ د هغه سره نه ګایدلی شو نو موږ په مخکې مشر لکه و دا ته چې اوس ماته خبرې کوي نو هغه دوی خبرې ورسره کوي نو بیا چې هغه یو څه رام او حوصله ولري پر موږ باندې یو څه شی مو سره دغسې نور چې نه دا پوره ګټه خو موږ نه رارسېږي.
These women are proficient at arts and crafts, like embroidery and stitching. There is a growing consensus among these women that instead of finding jobs, they should master these vocational skills and start up their own businesses.
There are some categories where the government of Pakistan is ready to help the Afghan population. For example, the vulnerable groups like families headed by a single woman, or education is another criteria where students want to continue their education, particularly at the university level. And there are people who have invested informally and they want to have a formal investment, continue their businesses and trade activities within Pakistan. Same is the case with those skilled labor who wants to stay in Pakistan for work. So the government of Pakistan has clarified that yes, 150,000 such people, we will try to accommodate them within our country, not as refugees but like shifting them from the refugees domain to the economic or to the visa domain.
हमारे मुल्क के अंदर तो सिर्फ अफ़गान रेफ्यूजी या बांग्लादेश के कुछ वर्कर या बहुत ही कम शायद कोई किसी और तरफ से इधर हों जिसमें इंडिया की भी छोटी जैसी तादाद है, लेकिन हमारे जो वर्कर हैं वो दुनिया के दूसरे मुल्कों के अंदर बिलखसूस गल्फ़ के अंदर बहुत बड़ी तादाद है। तो इस सिलसिले में जो कन्वेंशन ILO का है जो माइग्रेंट वर्कर को तो जो प्रोटेक्ट करता है, मैं समझता हूँ ये बड़ा ही इंतहाई आम कन्वेंशन है और 35 कन्वेंशन तकरीबन हमने रेटिफाई किए हुए हैं, तो ये इम्पॉर्टेंट कन्वेंशन ऐसे भी ज़रूर रेटिफाई करना चाहिए.
Government of Pakistan is signatory of so many conventions. We are also in the process of ratifying Convention for Migrant Workers, Convention number 143, and we believe that migrant workers are also part and parcel of our workforce, and while they are there in Pakistan, they should be considered at par with the local workers, and all labor laws in the country should also be applicable to them, and there should not be any discrimination.
The International Labour Conference has adopted Convention 143 on migrant workers. This convention is very relevant for the countries, and the national authority is still debating the need to ratify it. We really hope that the National Assembly at the end will be in a position to ratify this convention so that the International Labour Organization can support the country in implementing its disposals, which is very relevant for the migrant population and refugees and IDPs.
Afghans have started realizing the importance of education for their personal betterment and for a better and prospective future. Many schools are being built for them in their settlements, so now children, besides part-time jobs, get an education as well. The government is also trying to facilitate their maximum enrollment in schools.
Giving scholarships, and very recently the Prime Minister has announced a good package for Afghan students who want to study in Pakistan. Similarly, the reservation of seats in the professional colleges, medical and engineering and the different universities, it is an effort to facilitate. We want to make them useful citizens when they go back. And this was the program right in the beginning when the Afghan population shifted, that the government of Pakistan encouraged them to have their curriculum in their own language so that they don't delink themselves from their own culture and language.
there is no bar to restrict them from the to discriminate or to you can say to subside them from going into the mainstream education institutions. So the students who are already in the Pakistani institutions or the students who are in the Afghan syllabus institutions will be allowed to continue their education till they complete their education and opt to go back to their own country.